Okay, I think we are live. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I just want to welcome everyone to Lyonsview Financial Fridays on Thursday. We have a very, very special but timely information, and I wanted to make sure that you got this information as soon as possible. So we're doing a special broadcast, live broadcast today, so you can get the information. My name is Clara Lyons-DeVaughn. I am the broker owner of Lyonsview Realty, and our team provides residential, commercial for small businesses and nonprofits, and property management services. So I'm really, really excited today. As you know, Financial Fridays is here to help you stay current on those trends that impact your bottom line. Our goal is to provide you with the resources, the information, and the tips to assist you in making the best financial decisions. So our commitment is really to maximize your wealth now and in the future. So it's really, really important that you get this information today. I'm so, so glad that you tuned in. Please like and share this video with others because this is very useful information for you. Our guests are here as a resource for you, and feel free to put any questions that you have in the comment section. So I'd like to go ahead and introduce Mr. Jesse Crawford from NJHMFA, New Jersey Home Mortgage Finance Agency. I got it right. So I'm really excited that he's back with us. He was here earlier. What month was that, Jesse?
I think I was somewhere around April. I think it was. We talked maybe March or April
for this program when you guys first launched it. So this is the second launch of a program for landlords of small units, 3 to 10 units, and
actually 3 to 30 now.
What? Okay, so we're going to get all the new information. I'm really, really excited. So there's an opportunity if you missed the first round. This is round 2. And Mr. Crawford is going to talk about all the new parts of this program so that you have the updated information and you can get your application in ASAP. So I'm going to share the slides. Let's see here. Go like that. And that's just me. We want both of us here. So let's do this. Can you see that?
I can.
Make it bigger for you.
Just a little bit bigger so I can see the text. All right. And then if you go to the next slide, I just want to make sure everything that I need. Now, are you going to be scrolling or just clicking?
Unfortunately, I'm going to be scrolling because this is not showing up in PowerPoint. So
okay. All right. So just make it just a little bit smaller so I can see all the text on the slide.
Okay. Let me do this. Say when.
That's fine. Right there.
That's good. Okay. All right. So as you know, Jesse's been with us before. He is with the New Jersey Housing Mortgage Finance Agency, which is an agency in the state of New Jersey that has quite a few resources. So we just want to make sure that you get all of the information today. And I'm going to turn it over to you. So,
well, first of all, Clara, thank you as always for having me. It's always a pleasure to be with you. And to come out and share information that's vital to the community. Just want to back up a minute and let folks know who do not know who I am. My name is Jesse Crawford. I'm with the state of New Jersey's Housing Mortgage Finance Agency. And we are a state agency that provides financing for housing, affordable housing on all levels throughout the state. And my primary job is to share this information with everyone that I come in contact with, basically organizations, nonprofits, realtors, brokers, and share this information, resources that are available. But what I want to talk about today, which is exciting, is our small landlord emergency grant program. The program started late in the year, which is to provide resources to landlord who has suffered losses due to COVID. And the program has reopened for a second round, and I want to share that information with you today. So what is the SLEG program, as we refer to it? It is a emergency housing program for landlords for their rental properties. It's $15 million from the federal government through the CARES Act. And it directly addresses the issues of the landlord with rents not being received or reduced rents. And it addresses the issue of rental forgiveness for the tenant. So if the landlord receives this particular grant from us, the landlord has to forgive the back rent for the tenant. So it's a win-win for the landlord and the tenant. Next slide, please. Now, it's a reimbursement program for the months of April 2020 through July 2020. So basically, when the pandemic happened, from April through July, the landlord or property owner, if they qualify, can get reimbursed for those months of lost revenue from their tenant. Assistance is awarded by a unit-by-unit basis, and only low to moderate level rents are eligible. And if the landlord receives this particular grant, they are obligated to waive or forgive back rent and late fees for the tenant. Next slide, please. Now, eligibility criteria for this program. The property owner, property manager must be the primary owner of the property, of the residential property. It must be registered with the Department of Community Affairs in their housing inspection management system, also known as RIMS database. They must be registered and have no life safety code violations for the property as of September 22nd, 2020. They must be current on all their state and local tax obligations. They cannot be a government entity or public housing authority, and not be a condo or cooperative owner. Also, must contain at least 3 and no more than 30 units. Now, the first round was 3 to 10 units,
Right.
but they've expanded this, so now they can help a wider array of folks, which is a good thing. But just for the understanding for folks viewing this, 3 to 10 units means 3 units, 1 building, 30 units, 1 complex, up to that. So it has to be those multiple units in a building, not multiple single family homes scattered throughout the state.
Gotcha. So you're counting doors, basically.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
It must contain at least 1 non-vacant COVID impacted unit, meaning it must be occupied for the period of time for the reimbursement from April through July. And the rents must not exceed the maximum rent thresholds, which I'll show on the next slide, for a particular county and the bedroom size. And it cannot be a seasonal or vacation rental property.
Okay. Now, I don't know if everybody can see all of these numbers, but.
And you will provide this slide to the folks who request it from you?
Yes.
Okay.
So anyone who wants this information, I can send you the stack. Just inbox me your email address and you can have all of this information. Thank you, Jesse.
Great.
Yeah.
And really quick, this slide shows by county the maximum rent thresholds by unit size from a studio all the way up to a 5-bedroom. So as long as the tenant's rent does not exceed these limits by county, certainly the landlord or property owner can participate in applying for this grant.
And this is actually pretty good because let's see, we're in Camden County. So for a studio, the max is 1354, one bedroom is 1450, a two bedroom 1740, three bedroom 2000,
Hmm.
four bedroom 2250 basically, five bedroom 2474. So those are pretty substantial rents that they're reimbursing for. This is good.
Definitely, yes, definitely. Now, how does this round differ from the first round? First
Mhm.
of all, 30 units applied this time around, 3 to 30 units, whereas it was 3 to 10 units before.
Gotcha.
And also, um, given some of the feedback we received for the first round,
Mhm.
they've streamlined the application process. There are certain things that were required for the first round that aren't required for the second round, such as information about fire certs will not be requested at all. They'll be able to check those items on the back end with the RIMS database with DCA. Um, One of the biggest issues up front that folks were uh, making errors that they were making when submitting their file, Clara,
Mhm.
is most folks have their rental properties as part of a schedule on their taxes.
Mm,
I think it's a Schedule E.
okay, yes.
And what they were using as their tax ID in the application was either the EIN number or the tax ID for their LLC or the company for their rental properties.
Mhm.
And what we need for the application is the primary social security number from the taxes
Okay,
so that it can be looked at and verified whether or not taxes were paid for the unit in the state of New Jersey. Even if you're outside the state of New Jersey, there are requirements and thresholds. If you receive a certain amount of revenue for that property, you're required to file as a non-resident with the state of New Jersey for the taxes. So
gotcha,
it's important to have that primary social security number that is listed on the taxes.
gotcha.
Okay, and if it's filing jointly, it's usually the first social security number on the return.
Gotcha. Okay.
The other thing is that, as I said, the portal is more user friendly than it was before, and there's a wider range of financial documents that can be received, bank statements, including financial transaction apps such as Venmo, Cash App. Landlords are receiving their payments through those methods,
Mhm.
and other financial statements. And one last thing, which is a great addition to this, Clara, landlords who receive their monies in cash are having issues documenting that. We now have a form on our website that the landlord can download, fill in the amounts, have the tenant sign it, and they sign it and have it notarized and then sent back with their application to verify or prove those cash amounts received for the tenant.
Yeah, that's really huge because there are quite a few tenants who do pay cash
Mhm.
for rent,
Yeah.
and so as long as you're saying, as long as they sign off on it and notarize it,
Hmm. Hmm.
everything's all good.
It's all good. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Really quick, the grant award details. There are no preset minimum or maximum amounts. The grant award amount will be calculated on the basis of eligible COVID impacted units
okay,
and the corresponding rent deficit for those units over that 4 month period between April 2020 and July 2020. Really quick scenario of how the monies are paid out. You have a rental property in Hudson County uh, with three one bedroom apartments,
okay,
each with a monthly rent of $1,000. If all three tenants in those units lost income and were unable to pay their rent for that period through April and July of 2020, the applicant would receive grant assistance up to $12,000, provided they meet the criteria and standards. So
okay.
$12,000 would be reimbursed to the landlord for that, for those
Awesome,
4 months.
awesome.
The scenario below is similar. You have where uh, two tenants could pay 50% of their rent, and the other tenant was able to pay full rent for April through May, but was unable to pay for June and July, the landlord would receive possibly up to $6,000 in that scenario.
Gotcha. So just the portion that was missing for the 4-month period.
Right. So even if the landlord has a tenant who's paying half the rent,
Mm-hmm.
they can get reimbursed for their losses. Or if they have obviously a tenant that's paying nothing. And most tenants are paying what they can.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is a win-win for the landlord to get reimbursed for their losses, and for the tenant, it's an incentive for the tenant to work with the landlord to get their back rent paid and forgiven.
Gotcha. And the minimum number of units again?
Minimum is 3,
Okay.
maximum 30.
Gotcha. Was it 3 before?
It was 3 to 10 before.
Okay. So a triplex and up
Mm-hmm.
to 30. Got
Yes.
it. So the application time frame. Now this is the cool part.
This is the application timeline and deadline. So Monday, as of September 28th, we opened the second round, and it will close promptly October 13th at 4 p.m.
Okay. So everybody listen up.
I want to encourage folks not to wait until the 13th to apply.
Yeah.
Please apply way in advance, because we had a lot of traffic, honestly, the last day of the first round. And we don't want to see that bottleneck that we saw on the last day of the first round happen again. We want everybody to be able to get their applications in a timely manner, and get this funding, because we want to get this funding out to all the folks who need it, and particularly to help the tenants who need forgiveness for rent due to COVID.
Yeah. So if a person is filling out the application, if they started, say, today, can they go in and out of the portal?
They certainly can.
Okay.
As long as they don't click submit,
Mm-hmm.
they can go back and forth. They can start it, go back and finish it, gather their documents. We have some folks who need to go to Staples and have stuff scanned,
Yeah.
put on a disk so they can upload that information. You certainly can. But once that application is submitted, you can't make any changes to it.
Gotcha. So don't click the submit button, but you can go in and out and add documents as you're going through the process. And actually, can they progress to the next screen without completing the screen prior? So they can see.
Well, they can. There are some screens in particular. There's what we call eligibility questions that need to be answered. Mm-hmm. And if those questions aren't answered, mm-hmm. You can't proceed to the next step.
Okay. And
then there are other questions at the end, such as duplication of benefits questions and truthfulness of the application questions. You have to put something in those fields, and if you do not, you will not be able to submit your application.
Okay.
But it's important that they try and complete their application in terms of the documentation that they need to upload to support their case, so that when it gets to the reviewer, they can review this information and then get the funding out as quickly as possible. Okay. Because with federal funding, you have a deadline to spend the funding that you receive. And if not, that funding goes back. So our goal is to exhaust these funds by that deadline to all parties who qualify.
Right. So if you qualify, definitely start your application process today. And of course, if you have any questions, reach out to the NJHMFA office.
we have a call center that's set up.
Mm-hmm.
That opens up at 8 in the morning and closes at 6.
Awesome. And
I'm going to say that number just now for folks who are on this broadcast. It's 856-354-5225. Again, that's 856-354-5225.
Let me say it one more time. 856
354 5225.
Okay.
Any questions they have about the process, eligibility, feel free to call us. We got a wonderful staff ready to help and help these folks get what they need.
Okay, so I have the phone number there so people can jot it down as we're going through this. So you were talking about the application process before I jumped in and
No, that's fine. That's fine. You do
interject.
what you do. um, the other thing is that on Monday, the 19th, they'll start the computer randomization of applications, and then the review process will start. Um, and for those applicants who have submitted the application, in order to check your status, very simply just log in back into the portal, and you'll see your property number, application number, and to the right of that, it'll tell you its status. Either it's, in review, waiting for documentation, or what we call is waiting for cure. If there's something that needs to be clarified, and the reviewer is going to reach out via email to the applicant and say, we need clarification on certain issues. So you can always check your status 24 hours a day by logging into the portal to see what that is.
Now, in the first round, were there a lot of people who got waitlisted, or did most of the people who applied who were, eligible get funded?
There really wasn't a wait list, and I'll be totally honest with you, because we didn't allocate all the funds the first time around. That's why there's a second round.
Awesome.
Had we allocated all the funds with the applications entered, then there would have been a waiting list.
Right.
We're probably going to have a waiting list after this round.
Okay. Well, sometimes people let that discourage them. They think they may not get approved. You don't know unless you apply.
Right.
So put the application in. As Jesse said, if there's something that needs to be corrected, they will tell you what you need to do and what you need to provide. And then if you are in fact eligible, that just increases your chances. So get it in early. And so the 19th is the date that the October the 13th, Tuesday, the final application is due. And the 19th is when they'll start the selection process, if I understand it.
And reviewing the applications.
And reviewing the applications. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And Clara, even when the application is submitted in review, every opportunity is given to that applicant to resolve whatever issues it is with the particular file. So it's not like you're just going to be flat out denied. They're going to work with you to try to get those issues resolved.
Awesome.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing about the program, as stated when we had this conversation last time, everything is web-based and through a portal.
Okay.
You have to log in, you have to upload. Nothing can be mailed. Everything's done via the computer. And applicants self-register with their email address through the portal. They can come back and forth as they please to check their status. And the things that are needed for the application is a taxpayer identification number from their W-9 or their tax return, the primary tax ID from the tax return. Details about the property, including the property address, and financial accounting of the property's rent revenue from December, very important, from December 2019 through July 2020. So basically,
the rent
rolls, bank statements for that period to annotate rents received, even if the rent is in one lump sum deposit. The landlord or property owner must break that out and say, X amount of dollars from this deposit for a particular unit.
Gotcha.
So that when the reviewer gets that, they can look at it and say, okay, clearly understand what rent was paid in that deposit for what particular unit. And the rent rolls obviously makes it a little bit easier when they look at that information. So we want them to be specific as possible and make it as easy as possible for the reviewer to determine those dollars and what the deficit is to the landlord or the property owner.
Gotcha.
And most importantly, leases that cover all units seeking assistance.
Gotcha.
The unit cannot be vacant. It has to have been an occupied unit for the period in question. The other thing is that, and I'm not trying to discourage, but I want people to understand is that if your tenant owed more rent, back rent prior to the COVID pandemic, then you're not going to qualify because you really don't have the hardship from COVID. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So you're not going to qualify because they owed more prior to COVID than after when COVID hit.
Gotcha.
You can have a tenant who missed one or two payments from January through March. That's fine. But if they didn't pay from January all the way through July, you're not going to qualify because for these funding, it's for COVID impacted units.
Gotcha.
Okay, that makes sense?
Yes, it does. I did have one question for right now. One is about the lease. So a lot of landlords were saying that they have, maybe have a lease initially when the tenant came on board,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't send out new leases, like when it converts from, let's say they had a 2-year lease and then it converts to month after.
Right.
So is that okay?
It is okay, but the requirement, as I understand, and what they're asking for that month to month, they're asking for a copy of that lease or the original lease or something notarizing that tenant is month to month.
Okay.
So that there has to be a way to prove that tenant is now month to month.
Right. That they're still there.
That they're still there.
Right.
I know it's a pain, but it's a requirement that's needed for a number of reasons. And what we've tried to instill in the folks that we talk to, particularly the landlords, property owners, is that you have to basically let this tenant know that it's a win for them to get their rent paid, their back rent. So most tenants are fine in signing that month-to-month notarized document. There are some tenants who don't want to sign anything. I'll be totally honest with you, so it makes it difficult. But most tenants are happy because it's a benefit to them and it helps the landlord. We've had tenants who've actually called the hotline to get the information to give to their landlords.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
If they're eligible, then if the landlord is eligible, then the landlord has to let the tenant know that their rent is covered for that period of time.
That's a good question and statement. And what we will do at the agency, if the landlord receives the grant, we notify the tenant that the landlord has received the grant and paid their back rent.
Right.
And it's also going to be posted on our website.
Just for that period, though, which is what, the April through
July.
Right. Just for those 4 months. It's not like forever.
No, not forever. I wish. I know some folks wish. But it also will be posted on our website.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Is this the next slide? Yeah. What do we got here?
This is frequently asked question.
Oh. You may apply for SLEG assistance for more than one property.
Okay.
But each will be considered separately as part of the random draw. Okay.
Okay.
Only the registered primary owner may apply. We spoke about that earlier.
Let's go back to the one before. So if I have a triplex and I also have a 6-unit, so I can apply for the triplex, that's one application, and then the 6th unit, that would be another application.
Exactly. So when you're in the application portal for that 6th unit, it's going to prompt you to put in the information for each and every unit, the unit number, the rent due, the rent received, and then you go down to the next step and add the next unit. So you have all those 6 units for that one application.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
You cannot use this funding for owner-occupied units. So the landlord cannot get reimbursed for their own particular unit, only for their tenant's unit.
Gotcha.
And this program does not cover late fees. Okay.
Okay.
The landlord, if receiving this funding, would have to waive the late fees.
Okay.
For the tenant. and you may be eligible for assistance in round two if you do not receive funding in round one. So meaning that round one applicant was denied for, say, not being registered in the inspection management system with DCA, but they are registered as of September 22nd. They now can reapply for the funding.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
So that gives them an opportunity to get back in. So things like that, they can reapply for round two.
Okay. I apologize for all the scrolling.
No, that's okay. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be, so I gotta really focus. Only units occupied between April and July of 2020 are eligible, as I stated before. Vacant units will not be assisted or eligible for this program. You will need internet access to submit your application via the portal, the web-based portal. Okay. It can be done via a mobile device, your phone, or tablet. Very important. We suggest using Chrome or Firefox if you're using a computer, or over your mobile device, over your phone. We've had some issues with the Microsoft browsers, so we recommended that folks use Firefox or Google Chrome.
Okay.
And the great thing is that we have our application in a multiple languages, is in English and Spanish, and we have interpretation services. Our hotline can handle a number of languages. So we're here to help everyone that calls the hotline, and we can get a translator on the line, disseminate what that caller needs, and get them the information that they need.
Awesome.
Now, once the application is submitted, and when the reviewer reaches out for documentation that needs to be clarified, there'll be a date or a period of time that's specified in that email how long they have to cure that particular item. Typically, it would be 5 days, 5 business days. So if they need updated bank statements, they would send an email out to the applicant stating, we need bank statements for a period of time, and you have 5 business days to send this information back to us via the link that's going to be in the email to upload that information to.
Gotcha.
Okay. If an applicant is denied, they're going to be notified by email also. And if the denial is something that can be appealed, they're going to be told that in the email. Okay. If it's something that's not appealable, then it will also be told that in the email. So some items are appealable, whereas others aren't.
Gotcha.
And an incomplete application, obviously, it's going to be moved to the back of the pile because it's incomplete. So, for instance, they just started and don't upload any documents before the cutoff period. That application is not going to be processed.
So, will people be notified that their application is incomplete once it goes to waitlist, or before it goes to waitlist?
No. They have to log in and check the status, or log in and complete it before the deadline.
Gotcha. And so let's say I've submitted my application. Maybe I missed one thing and I thought it was complete. I hit submit. Then under the review, will they say, oh, hey, you missed X?
No, if it's something, one document is missed, or bank statement or lease, they're going to give the applicant an opportunity to rectify that through the email cure process.
Gotcha. Okay.
But if the applicant didn't enter anything except for their name and property address and never came back,
right?
We got too many files to deal with. You know what I mean? Too much work. So in that case, unfortunately, it's probably going to be dead in the water.
Yeah, understood.
This particular page here is basically just a resource for the folks on this broadcast. We have the New Jersey COVID Hub, everything COVID with the state of New Jersey. If you have any questions or any issues as a landlord, as a tenant, I recommend the COVID-19 hub here. You got the DC Aid tool, and obviously folks who need housing counseling services. The link is here. So these are very important links to jot down and keep handy.
So the DC Aid tool, what is that?
Well, let me click on it real quick for the DC Aid tool.
If I can do that.
Can you click on it?
Yeah. Okay. Can you see it?
I can't see. I just see what's on my screen. Yeah.
Let me see if let me do this. You can keep talking. I'll
yeah, I'm not familiar with the DCA tool. The COVID-19 is encompassed pretty much everything, and that's where I'm sending folks who everything COVID related with the state of New Jersey. This comes out from the government, the governor's office, and DCA. But these resources were added for various reasons for applicants outside this process who need assistance.
Okay. Let me see if I can pull it up. There it is. Can you see it now?
It's loading up.
Okay.
All right. So this is community resources here and various assistance programs listed below. So LIHEAP. So it's wraparound services, Section 8 housing. So it's just additional services throughout the state.
This is really cool. So homelessness and eviction, energy assistance for low income houses, weatherization, which is going to be coming up soon here.
Yes.
So there's a lot of resources that come through your office, which is really pretty cool. So the deadline again is Tuesday,
October 13th
okay,
at 4 p.m.
Okay, let me see if I can go back. I don't know why this doesn't let me switch between my screens. So, and the other question that kept coming up with people were about the 3-unit minimum, I guess. Yeah. How did that number come up versus, so if someone has a duplex or is renting out a 1-unit, why those weren't considered?
Well, in the state of New Jersey, as it's been explained to me, any property manager or owner who has a 3 or more unit residential property should be registered with the Department of Community Affairs. Okay. So that every 5 years they come out and do an inspection of that property for life safety code violations.
Okay.
And it's from 3 to 10 units. There's no way for them to check for life safety code violations for anything under 3 units because the requirement is from 3 or more. And that's why when they designed this program, they also needed to be able to verify that these units are up to code and safe before providing government funding for rents being paid. And it's from 3 to 10, and that's why they have that number from 3 to 10, and then ultimately from 3 to 30.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, hopefully, there'll be something else that comes down the pipe for duplexes from hopefully through the federal government. But as of right now, this is designed for 3 to 10.
Okay.
3 to 30. I'm sorry.
Gotcha. So the application deadline is Tuesday, October the 13th at 4 p.m.
Yes.
That means you're going to shut it down at 4 o'clock. Not you.
Shut it down. Shut it down. And I implore people to apply early. Do not wait until the last day. Please do not wait until the last day. We had some bottleneck issues on the last day of the first round. We have been fined for up to 8 days, 10 days, whatever it was. And then that last day, that last hour, things just slowed down tremendously because it was just too many folks coming into the pipeline. And like with anything, you got too much going into that narrow pipe, things are going to slow down.
Great. Yeah. So
And
this,
the address to apply is on screen,
okay.
njhousing.gov/rentals
Mhm.
/SLEG, the number 2.
Okay.
And you can log in there, create a password, and start your application.
Okay. So the questions, there's a support team H7. Now this number is different than the number that you gave me. This
Yeah, well,
H6. What's the difference?
they both go to the call center.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
We have multiple 800 numbers for the call center, but I'm giving out the one I typically give out when I'm talking to people.
Gotcha.
But they certainly can use the number on screen. Or any questions, they can email slag@njhmfa.gov.
Gotcha. This was really, really, really great information. I'm excited about one, people get another opportunity, to
Yeah,
I'm going to show that number again. So people get another opportunity to participate. And if they have, you know, 3 to 30 units now, and they have another opportunity to be able to get reimbursement for lost rents for the period of April through July of 2020, because they have tenants who've been impacted by the loss of income and are unable to pay their rent. So it's a win-win for the tenant because they get forgiven basically that rent and get waived all of their late fees.
yeah.
It's a win-win for the landlord because they receive the income that's required. It's a win-win for the lender because the lender, now gets paid
Gets
for
paid. Yeah,
on that property. So it's really a great program, and I'm glad
taxes get
that.
paid. Water bills get paid. Heat gets turned on.
Yeah,
Repairs that need to be done. So it's a great benefit all around.
yes.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are watching, whether you're a tenant or you are a landlord, please share this information with other people. It may not apply to you, but there's someone out there who can benefit from this information. So definitely share, 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 so folks can get the information. Please, please, please apply today. Start the application process. You can go in and out of the system to upload documents as needed, but everything needs to be in no later than Tuesday, the 13th. Don't wait till 4 o'clock because the system will shut down at 4 o'clock.
Yes,
So
please.
you want all of your information in, preferably by the day before, and you will be notified um, if you are approved for these funds. And they're grant funds, so they don't have to pay the money back.
No. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely um, take advantage of this information. You got another opportunity, round two. So, and I like that you guys upped it to 30 units. So that will include a lot more people, but that means there'll be a little bit more competition. So,
Yeah. 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 But folks need the help. Any little bit helps at this particular point.
yeah. Anything else that you'd like to share, Jesse, before we wrap?
No. If you have any questions, feel free to call us on the hotline. But I can't stress enough, apply today. Don't wait until the 13th. Apply today.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Well, I want to thank you as always for being a resource to our guests at Lyonsview Realty Financial Fridays. And our guests are here as a resource to you. So if you have any questions, let me actually go to comments, make sure. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comment section, or you can call the hotline directly, 856-354-5225, to get your questions answered. So if you're watching this on the replay, you have that information as well. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to this broadcast. Uh, we really want to thank you for watching today, and we hope that you receive some information that was of value to you. Financial Fridays is here to provide you with the resource, information, and tips, trends that impact your bottom line. So I really, really hope that you got something today. As you know, it is not Friday. So this was a special because we wanted to get you the information as soon as possible. But join us again tomorrow on Friday. We're going to be talking about copyrights and trademarks for intellectual property. And that's going to be some great information as well. As always, we want to send love, light, and prayers out to anyone who has lost a loved one, anyone who has anyone in the hospital for any reason, and you can't be with them or see them. If you are experiencing the impact of social distancing, or I should say physical distancing, because,
Yeah.
got to do that 6 feet, wear your mask,
Mm.
please. And also to our essential employees, those people who are providing our healthcare services, our food services, our fire, our police, and especially our leadership. I just encourage everyone, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and definitely stay safe. I want to thank you again, Jesse, for being with us today. Just
Thank you
really
for having me as always. It's a pleasure.
appreciate you. And for those of you who are watching, my name is Clara Lyons-DeVaughn, and we stream live on Facebook and YouTube, normally on Fridays, but this was a special broadcast to get you the information in a timely manner. And you can join us again on Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, keep living your best life. Thank you. Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.